My whole life I was thinking if it's possible or not. Well, it is possible. Gummy bears, cola? That's like a new currency for our car reviews. They buy me gummy bears, they give me a nice car, and I can drive it. What do you need for the perfect summer drive? Well, you need a convertible like 2020 Mazda MX-5 Miata RF, and you need some sunscreen. Shall we? Well, let's shoot it straight. It's a driver's car, and it is as good as it gets. For the past week I've been tearing the canyon roads, and man, I used a lot of sunscreen. Well, you see, this car is completely unique, and I hate you, Mazda. Now I want to buy it myself. So today our main goal is to figure out what makes this 2020 Mazda MX-5 Miata RF so good, and what issues you should expect buying one of those. So now you know the drill. This is Dennis, this is For Life Test Drive, shall we? What about styling and design? Well, this red color, oh my, this is beautiful. This is one of the best paint jobs you can find on the market right now. Yes, this is gonna cost you $595 extra for this beautiful red, but it's totally worth it. The coolest part, this red color goes into the interior as well. And you see this red panel, for example, here on the door? So it kind of connects all the design dots together. What about trim levels? Well, for the RF you've got only two, Club and Grand Touring, which I'm gonna call GT. I mean, the Grand Touring sounds like a lot, right? Between those two trim levels you have roughly around 1K difference, but this is not important. You have to decide whether or not you're gonna pedal the Miata your own way, whether you're gonna go with a 6-speed manual or you're just gonna go a lazy route and stick to the 6-speed automatic transmission. The other most important package that you have to decide whether you want to go with Brembo brakes, front Brembo brakes, rear Mazda brakes, Recaro seats, and a couple of other exterior pieces. But knowing how capable this suspension is, you have to decide whether or not you would like to invest in Brembo brakes, Recaro seats, and so on, because this car is so capable that you might want to add this option. This option is going to cost you $4,670. It's a lot for Miata ballpark. Sounds like Porsche option, right? But anyways, Grand Touring or Club, it's not important. Brembo brakes, Recaro seats, or 6-speed manual or 6-speed automatic, this is something important. This is something that you have to pay attention to. Sure, you can tell this car is ready to be customized the way you want it. Even when you build any other car, you have a couple of trim levels, you have a couple of colors, you have a couple of small pieces and options like cargonette, different floor mats, things like that. Mazda on this side has 24 other smaller options where you can start customizing your Miata even before it's gonna leave the showroom. It's like you can have a Alcantara shift knob or parking brake Alcantara, or even you can pick satin chrome air vent bezels. Again, it reminds you that this car has been built to be customized the way you want it. I actually used to own one of those, and it was 2015 Club Edition. So if I would compare it to the previous generation, this car is a whole new level. First of all, Mazda probably posted a Craigslist ad saying, hey guys, we lost like 30 horses. Did you see them anywhere? Yeah, it was for Miata, the smaller horses, you remember? Looks like somebody finally decided to return those horses to Mazda, and we've all been begging and saying, Mazda, please, we need a little bit more power. So it used to be 155 horsepower, right now it's 181, and man, that's not plenty, but that's totally enough for Miata. Second, right now you have this fastback convertible, so I mean in RF, which stands for retractable fastback. So when you have this metal roof behind you, A, you're not gonna get so much wind, noise, everything is more comfortable inside in comparison to regular Miata. B, this is safer, and yeah, you might not even think about the situations like this, but in case something happened, you'd rather have a piece of metal behind you. It's also helpful for the stiffness of suspension because it works like a bar between left and right side of the chassis. Well, it's a driver's car and you get the driver's dash, which is focused on RPMs. Everything is right. It's not messy in terms of information, it's very focused on everything you need. You get speedo, RPMs, you have your gear indicator, you have engine temperature, you have one small screen on the left where you can adjust some information like trip A, B, distance to empty, things like that. And on the bottom you have your odometer and fuel gauge. That's it. Do you need more information there? Nope. Right now I have right turn, and that's totally fine in terms of visibility, but when you have a right uphill turn, this is terrible. I mean, I can't really see what's coming up just because I'm taller, and when you're like 6 foot or even 6'2", this rear view mirror on the middle completely blocks everything what's happening if you make a right uphill turn. Let's talk about another downside of Miata, blind spots. So for example, when you turn your head to the right, you can clearly see what's happening there, but try to make a left, you cannot see anything what's happening on your blind spot or next to the trunk. That's the downside of having RF in comparison to regular Miata. What about safety features and technology? Well, if you don't know how to drive this car, I have nothing to say. I have no good news for you. It actually has some safety features. For example, you got the blind spot monitors. Yes, they do exist. Yes, they do help, but they're kind of slow. They're kind of slow for a faster Miata. And what I mean by that, you usually pass the car, you're already clear, and the blind spot is still gonna beep on you when you're trying to merge or make a turn. It's actually got lane departure warning, and I think it should be renamed to lame annoying warning. Mazda, you should tell me what fuse I should pull from this car in order to get rid of this light that shows me that this lame departure warning is currently off. I mean, it does nothing besides bugging you. Alright, let's cool off. You look at the interior, it's overall very well built. I like the dash, I like the materials, I like everything around me. But minor details like this piece that sits next to the two USB ports, and it's flimsy, and that's exactly where you have this convertible button, which is most likely is gonna be the most important button for this car. And like every time you touch in this convertible button and you see the entire piece is just going up and down, up and down. I mean, come on Mazda, you have to be perfect, okay? Don't settle for halfway. Well, I have another problem. I know guys, just listen for a second. They put the beautiful chrome logo right on the steering wheel, and right now when I'm steering and going through the twisty road, I have a sun pointing straight at this beautiful chrome logo. And I know it's pretty, but it also tends to reflect the sunlight straight into my eyes. So for all of those designers out there, please, if you build a convertible, make sure nothing is gonna reflect the sunlight straight into our eyes. Drive those cars. We cannot do it with closed eyes. It's not just pretty little car, okay? This is driver's car, first of all. It's very focused on driving experience. And what I mean by that, you have very sharp steering feel, you got really good feedback out of the suspension set, you know exactly what your tires doing, you know exactly what's happening with the car while you're passing the corners hard. And eventually this car makes you a better driver, because you don't have to have crazy power. You don't have to have something that you're gonna slam the gas pedal to the metal and it's gonna scare you. This is the car where you're gonna learn the most important driving skill. Don't use brakes when you don't need them. I think the new engine is great, but without this built-in suspension set, without these built-in shocks, it wouldn't be the Miata that I'm driving right now. Again, it's very well balanced, it's very planted, it's very easy to drive. It actually reminds me one thing. We used to see Miata like very base car, low technology. If you're gonna get a set of speakers, great. But right now it's getting more modern. It's appealing to more and more people, and it gives you enough comfort to keep this car as a daily driver. This tiny infotainment screen on the middle, and I said tiny because more and more manufacturers nowadays trying to put the TV here, has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it got the Bluetooth, and it got the backup camera here. What else you need? It's got it all. But you're not gonna get much trunk space though. For example, in my case, I was able to fit my tripod, but I was not able to fit the dolly. You know those beautiful shots when the camera is sliding left and right? Yeah, we had to store them on the passenger seat. What about the sound system? When you drop the top, it's gonna get noisy. Yeah, it's getting noisy after 50 miles an hour. Like for example, right now we're doing 50, and you can tell from two corners where you have the roof and you have the glass, you're getting tons of noise. It's nothing in comparison to the regular Miata, but you can hear it. Instead of listening to a noise, Mazda has already a solution for you. It's got 9 speakers, Bose premium system, and what's cool about it, you have 2 speakers that are sitting right behind you. So in the headrest, left and right, you have 2 speakers. And when you drop the top, those 2 speakers will work, eventually bringing the music right next to your head. Somewhere they had in the subwoofer, I had a problem to find it. It doesn't sound boomy, it's pretty balanced, nothing too special, but it sounds good. In comparison to the Mazda Miata before, man, it's really good. But we know the better systems out there. From the outside and from the inside, driving this car, well, it's really hard to believe that it's gonna cost you roughly 30 grand. And we all have to buy one of those, because if Mazda gonna stop the production of Miata, like most of the manufacturers right now trying to get rid of the sporty segment and build more and more SUVs, this world is gonna be packed with boring cars, and every single time I get a chance to drive one of those, I have only one thing in mind. How can I keep it for a few more days? Or forever? Okay, if I'm gonna buy one of those, I might not be able to drive it daily, just because I'm getting new cars for review every single week. But Mazda, you are guilty, just because you made me thinking about buying one of those. It brings a lot more smiles per miles, and it's gonna look way more expensive on your driveway than it actually costs. So give yourself a favor and at least try it out. Which stands for retractable But I told you, just keep that in mind. You might want to buy one of them. Okay, turn off the camera. I think we're done. But hey, I warned you, you might end up buying it.